Yeah, I'm live. I think I'm live. I think my audio is working. I can see the green dots moving when I'm talking, and I'm sitting. I'm not walking, so I can focus more on the topic, which is helicopter money. So, helicopter money. Brr. Try that again. Brr. Like the money counter. Helicopter money. Talking about last time it was airplane money. This time I'm talking about helicopter money. So, yeah, as always, I'm live, so trying to do this live thing so I can have a platform for people who have any questions about passive income, about making more money, about how they can start their own business. Because I remember being at a point in my life where it was so hard to see like any kind of business. I wanted to same thing pretty much as like the majority of people. I feel like is be able to have more freedom in life, more time, work on things that I enjoy instead of a job that I don't like. Have more money, all that kind of stuff. So like at the beginning, it was so hard to see like any kind of business opportunity. My mind was like everything I thought it was like, oh, that's not going to work. And looking back, a lot of the ideas I had back then were really small. They were like really, I wouldn't even like consider entertaining the business ideas I had back then. But now I can tell I'm definitely at a different level. And when I chop it up with other business people, other people that are on the same mindset, we can all really, help each other out, give each other some ideas on like how to take that next step, like things you might not have seen, ideas you might not have had. So that's really I'm trying to be glad about, thankful everything that I got and help everybody get a lot, see more flow, more money. So before I go into the topic, just say one more time, the questions are open, the comments are open. I'm hoping somebody would step in and start the conversation because I know that I would have some information that would probably be valuable to them and help them grow and see so they can know to be where they want. So moving on, talking about some helicopter money. Yeah. So what's helicopter money, right? Like it's a real thing. It's a term. Talking about it in economics. The economies, the economics, the system. So, yeah, yes. So the system is the economic system, and helicopter money is really something that is referred to as unconventional monetary policy. So it's not something that they do very much. It's more of something that's like a last resort. Like if the economy is in bad shape, it's one of those last resort things that the Fed or governments will consider. And the reason I'm talking about it right now is because it's being used, and especially in Japan. There's a lot I could talk about on another video about Japan that's very interesting in regards to basically how they crashed their economy in the past. They basically made the price of everything, real estate, go way up. They manipulated their markets. So, what looked like at the time, nobody really knew what they were doing until after they did it. So, they basically got away with it. But they, after the war and everything, I'm just, really like generalizing all this. So, like, you could do more research on your own, or I think I might even want to do another video. Let me know in the comments if you're trying to hear more about this situation. But really, they through the war lost a lot of control. They had their own economy, but there were all these restrictions and everything that were set up. So what they did was they just basically manipulated their economy to the point where it collapsed. And then when everything collapsed and the prices crashed, the government was able to come in and buy up all the things that they did not control in the first place. Like, again, there's a lot more to this as far as details go. But just to keep it simple, basically they outsmarted the world banks, and they outsmarted a lot of economic economists that didn't really see this coming, and they did it as a power move. And, they definitely like ruined a lot of people's lives because a lot of people lost everything, but they did it. Like they definitely did this on purpose to get more control and more power. So really, like we know this has been done before, and now Japan is just starting to give themselves more helicopter money. So like a helicopter money is basically when the economy is doing really bad, the interest rates have become near zero, and the economy is still in a recession, right? So like they can't really. I mean, you can do negative interest rates, but at that point, like you're already down to zero. The economy's still in a recession. Been pumping money in the economy. So what do? They drop that helicopter money, and this is basically just like printing out extra money out of thin air. And yeah, it's supposed to really like pick the economy back up. But I mean, at what cost does this have? Like, how long can they just go printing out this helicopter money, right? Uh, it's also called like a citizen's dividend or a distribution of future seniorage. These economists have a lot of like fancy words to try and cover up the fact that they're just like, doing like business the way they do business. But that's like a corporate thing in my mind that I've seen in a lot of corporate situations is, like using big words to like cover up something that's kind of shady if you just explained it like simply so most people could understand it. But anyways, yeah, this helicopter money thing, right? Basically, the central banks are making direct transfers to the private sector, financed with base money, without the direct involvement of fiscal authorities, right? So, yeah, this guy, Milton Friedman, look him up, Nobel winning economist. Uh, very important if you want to understand, you want to do some research on him, help you understand the economy. Basically, this was something that governments had done before. They just never had a term for it, and he termed it as helicopter money. And like in his own words, his explanation for this is let us suppose now that one day a helicopter flies over this community and drops an additional $1,000 in bills from the sky, which is, of course, hastily collected by members of the community. Let us suppose further that everyone is convinced that this is a unique event which will never be repeated. Hmm. That sounds very familiar to the current situation in America with the stimulus checks, and not just America, but a lot of other countries too. So, you know, really, like the media has been talking about, Japan's getting this helicopter money, but you know, that's like the Western American media. So, I mean, for all I know, you could look in the Japanese or like the Eastern media, and they'd be saying like the same thing about us. Because what I noticed throughout the years with especially the economy and governments is that uh, it's really rare that newspaper from America is going to criticize the way America's running their economy, stuff like that. They're always going to criticize other countries, talking about how they're doing it wrong, stuff like that, and vice versa. Like from what I understand about people that live in other parts of the world, their media is a lot more biased towards look what these other countries are doing with their economy. It's so bad, and look at how we're so good. So that just goes into being able to like read between the lines. But really, yeah, it's at the end of the day, that's what's going on right now. Is the government's, or not even the government, my fault. Central banks printing out money, they're just giving it to people, right? So basically, uh, this was first really seen as a policy in the early 2000s. Um, some Ben Bernanke and some other people that you might want to look up if you don't know who they are. People that really like have controlled the economy, and not only that, but every time the economy has crashed, they've always really like downplayed it, even though a lot of other non-traditional news sources kind of have seen it coming every time. These guys that are supposed to be in charge have been uh, maybe they didn't see it, but they always claim that the economy is going well, and it was just a huge surprise to them. So basically, what does that mean for people, like the everyday people that aren't really concerned with the power and greed and massive amounts of accumulating wealth, people that just want to live their lives and provide value, people that I'm trying to see get it. So what's up, Happy Life Holistic Therapies? Hello to you too. You got any questions on what you want to do to see more money come through in a business sense? Feel free. So I'm really trying to see, all right, like how can this helicopter money go to people like you and me and really like benefit us the most, that we can really pick up the economy with it and everything like that. Because really, I mean, look at it, like this is just really in my life the first time I think that has been done for people. Like so many times, so much more, even right now, so much more money is being just printed out for for businesses, for corporations, right? Which they, you know, like how do you? It's like the rich kid who keeps like messing up and failing, and then their parents just like give them more money. How are they ever going to learn from their lessons? So they just keep doing the same bad business practices. Um, you know, but at the end of the day, I mean, I can see how it's difficult for a lot of people to really become aware of what's going on, because like who's taught about the economy in school? Like I mean, I live in a capitalist society. A lot of people are really vocal about capitalism and other forms of isms, and like why one is better than the other. But at the end of the day, most people, when I check it, they don't really even understand like the like 2% of like the overall big picture of how economies work, things like that. Um, a lot of other things that I remember being taught in the public school system that basically are insignificant, right? The important things, like if we live in a system that's capitalism, then I would think capitalism would benefit from everybody understanding how the system works. We would all be able to take more advantage of the money that's flowing around, and help it move down, not up. But anyways, quantitative easing, quantitative easing for the people is helicopter money. And yeah, in 2008, there was the last financial crisis, which they always happen in cycles. It's just like life, right? So like, here's the cool thing. Here's one of the cool things that I've definitely found about studying the economy, studying how money works and stuff like that, and seeing, studying these charts as far as like different like economic cycles and stuff like that. It's just like cycles in life, right? Like you don't know the good without the bad, you don't know the ups without the downs. It's never going to be like always up or always down. It's got to be like ups and downs. Everything balances out. And once you become more aware of that, you can really start to understand the bigger picture better. And so, what people talk about as far as helicopter money. A lot of economists say that it's good, and a lot of them say that it's bad. So looking at it from a different perspective, right? Some economists say that when you're talking about cash transfers to households, uh, this is not actual fiscal policy, right? Like, what does that mean? Like, who? It's like art, right? Like, who says like this is art and this is not art? Like, who says this is fiscal policy and this is like right fiscal policy and wrong fiscal policy? I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, right? Like, I'm just trying to understand this capitalism a lot better and help other people understand, so we can all see more money in our hands. Uh, so we're talking about zero interest rates. Um, so what these economists, some economists that are against it, are saying that if you have zero interest rates, just a regular stimulus through tax cuts and infrastructure spending should work to bring the economy back up, that they shouldn't need to just print out money. So there's definitely economists that are like, okay, this is not necessary. Like, we shouldn't, you know, we don't need to be just giving money to people like this. We could use it. We could give people money through the form of a tax cut or improving infrastructure, and this will boost the economy like that. Um, So there's a lot of other reasons that might come into play as far as like why money would be given to people in the form of cash, just like dropping it from the sky, like throwing it out of a helicopter, and it kind of flows down to like certain people. Not everybody, of course, not everybody's going to get the check. Um, Possibly even more checks coming through. But anyway, yeah, helicopter money. And the people who support helicopter money, right? So like the other side of the coin. Um, So this is from Ben Bernanke. He wrote in 2016. He was basically saying that these type of programs, aka just giving checks to people in the form of cash, may be the best available alternative, and it would be a bad idea to rule them out. And basically, other economists from the time that are more in this like mindset agree that it should only be a tool in extreme situations, right? Well, I mean, look at the economy. It's always going to be up and down. There's always going to be extreme highs and extreme lows. So how does that work? It's is really anything extreme if we know that it always goes up and down. But I feel like before I was really educated on the economy and things like that. I just saw it as like I didn't see the cycles. I never understood any of that. I never understood that it's got to go down for it to go back up. It's not always going to go up all the time. So people see that, and I myself, I was like, oh, this is a bad situation. The economy has crashed, and stocks have crashed, and people are freaking out. And the news is talking about how everybody's like killing themselves because they lost half their wealth overnight. And oh my God, it's crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen again in our lifetimes. I mean, look at it. What has it happened about every 10 years since like, there's I think minus the 90s, like there was one in the early 80s, obviously 2000, what was it, 2001, another again in 2008, and then here we go again 2020. And interesting enough, some kind of like global catastrophe always seems to happen when the markets are like reach their peak and they don't really have any more room to grow, right? Like you can't, it comes to a point where like there's already so much debt, like the markets are just way overbought. And then what happens? Some random, hopefully random event takes place, and the economy crashes again, right? And it almost like it resets, and then the economy climbs back up, and then some other war or something happens, and cycle starts all over again. So who knows? I mean, it's kind of a coincidence that all these things seem to happen right when the cycles are at their peak as far as being overbought, everything being at all-time highs. So yeah, this is, they keep talking about like this helicopter money thing is only for extreme situations, but yeah, like I'm saying, it's gonna happen. Like it's why not do it all the time? If they have enough money to print out money like that, then why not just always give people money when, you know, throughout every year? But that's another story. Uh, so another thing economists are saying is that helicopter money is bad because basically they feel like people aren't going to spend this money, right? They're like, well, it's not going to work unless it goes back in the economy. And then, look at it like, well, if that's the case, then why are there not, more tax laws set up so that all the money that's being hoarded at the top isn't spread around more? I mean, that's never really a concern to these same people that are against money being printed out. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to inflation. All this extra money is just going to cause the value of the dollar to drop more, which you know, what country really controls the banks? Who's got the power, who's running the war, everything like that. Someone's got to assert dominance so that they can really control everything every time something like this happens. Okay, so like back in Japan when this was done like on a large scale, um the banks wanted to do it for the financial markets so that they could basically have a stimulus thing. This is kind of like the first seeing how it would work. Um, basically, basically, they're like, well, we're going to put this into households instead of bailing out the banks and everything like that. Even though the banks there got saved anyway. So yeah, it's hard to say when this comes into play. Looking at it from another way is like I think something that is very clear to me reading between the lines that the economists aren't using any big words to describe is basically okay, boom, economy, jobs, things go down, the cycle starts over. People, the media has people afraid, the media has people on worry mode. People say, hey, um, you know, how like it's all the government's fault and all this stuff like that and blaming it all this and that. But I mean, if you understood the cycles, if you understood that this was all inevitable, would you really be mad at the government, or would you be looking at how you could be more in tune with these cycles and take more advantage of the situations that present themselves to be making money? Like, want to go off track for a second on this right now. Best time for passive income, best time for starting up an internet business, in my opinion. I mean, it's always a good time, but I mean, look, people are going to be, sitting at home for the most part. A lot of people, and they're going to be using the internet more and more. They already have book sales. In my basically experience, I've never seen book sales increase so much in such a short period of time. More people are buying books. More people are just doing stuff online. More people are going on YouTube. I mean, I've been seeing like people that used to do YouTube videos once or twice a week do like two every day and get way more views than they would have if they had done once or twice a week. There's just more people on the computer right now, more people on the internet, more opportunities, right? So if you see this as like, okay, this is where you start to like look at where the cycle is at the bottom, look at the situation, look at the unique, because every time it hits the bottom, there's some kind of unique thing in play. Last time it was the housing market. This time it's the plague or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, depending on what it is, it's going to affect the economy differently. So it's all about too, knowing trends. So you can see these trends and you can look at it as how can I employ passive income to benefit off the trends that are right now. And looking at that, you can really find a way with any kind of pastime, hobby, passion, whatever it is, to benefit from. Awesome. We got a comment here from Andrew. What's good today, bro? It's just a saying, no negative connotations here. Yeah, same here, man. What's good today? Pretty much everything, man. Just back on the live stream. Nice day outside. Summer's almost here. A lot of new things, a lot of opportunities, everything hopefully opening back up pretty soon. Feel like the boring quarantine is almost over for the most part. Been through the worst of it, so now got a lot done, made a lot of progress during it. Definitely, just trying to come up off of it. So what I'm saying, going back, is really also feel free, man. If you got any ideas on passive income, I'll give you my 2 cents on really how you can benefit off of that, how you can really take anything and whatever it is for you and just really turn it into different sources of passive income. So yeah, you got to become more aware of the economy, right? Like, I don't consider myself a capitalist. I live in what would be considered a capitalist society. I try to avoid putting labels on anything because I feel like at the end of the day, that just defines you. That just like puts you in like a smaller box. Like, once you label yourself as like some type of political thing or some type of like system, whatever, that's just gonna like define whatever it is you do. So I'm not trying to say I'm a capitalist. I'm just trying to say I'm trying to provide value to you and everybody else. So basically, you got to look at these cycles, right? It's always going to be up and down, always going to be up and down. So what happens with most people is most people are very, um, I would say, they don't really look at the big picture, right? Because they don't understand how these cycles work. So what you get is like what would have been, up until everything crashed to maybe like 6 months before that. And what do you see all over the media and all over the TV? The economy is better than it's ever been, all-time highs. There's so much money out here. The economy is so great. Well, what do most people do that don't understand cycles, that have a very short-term understanding of what's going on? This is when they start doing things like buying up, oh, the economy's great right now. Make, buy stuff when it's at its all-time highs, right? Start spending a lot of money like it's always going to be great. But what are the most smartest, like, who's the Warren Buffetts and the people who really understand these cycles? Those guys already had the majority of their money out of the market when they saw the signs. When they saw the signs that I saw too, I was like, wow, this seems like a really bad time to be putting money in the markets, to be making any big purchases, because a lot of these things that, it's just the cycles. We're at the top right now. This is really the time to be getting ready for the next like crash, so that you can like benefit off of that. And that is when people get rich, right? People who get rich there are people who understand these cycles, people who understand the whole economy. The people who are at the top and they don't understand so much, and then they act like like a rich mindset when everything is like at their all-time highs. Those are the people that lose the most money. Those are the people that take the biggest hit. Those are the people who tend to go broke. So it's like, it's almost like reverse psychology. Like, this is the same thing with like investing and trading and everything like that. You just got to be more aware of the whole bigger picture. Um, One thing I want to talk about too. Um, okay, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. This is important because looking at something that was made because of the problems of inflation, and something that came as a result of the 2008 economic collapse, right? Like I've said before, if there was no 2008 economic collapse, I don't think Bitcoin or cryptocurrency would have been invented, because it was basically invented it because, there was a problem with, the debt's going to just keep going up, inflation's going to keep going up. Um, People are protesting, but who gets bailed out is the banks and the corporations who are causing this in the first place. And really, the people are the ones that are suffering. So somebody was like, okay, I'm going to make a new kind of currency that is immune to inflation because there's a fixed amount of it. The main thing of it is like you can't print out more past a certain amount. You can't like say like, oh well, the economy's not doing so good, so we're going to make more Bitcoin. What happens with this basically is like there's only a certain amount, so once the last one is printed out, the value will just go up. It won't be able to drop. I mean, it could drop, but not likely. This is all this is experiments. All this economy stuff is experiments. Like obviously people don't know the best way to run the economy yet, even the best economists. Otherwise we would have no debt and there wouldn't be these cycles. Everything would be more of like a flat line and stay like good all the time and just kind of like slowly go up and everything, but instead it's more like that. So really, what I want to talk about with Bitcoin basically is in like 2 weeks the next halving is coming up. And go ahead and search Bitcoin halving, do some research on it. Basically happens every couple years, and what happens is people mine Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoins are created. When the halving happens, the miners will the amount of Bitcoins that they make will be cut in half, which means that the amount of money that they spend on electricity, mining equipment, computers, all that stuff, the warehouses they're using, the employees they have, all those costs are going to stay the same, but they'll only be making half the amount of Bitcoin. So every time that's happened in the past, the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has gone way up. And this is something that just happened this time to coincide with a time where we've never seen more debt. The economy is worse than I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a shutdown like this. I've never seen it get this bad. I didn't live through the Great Depression. But basically, I mean, think of it like what's the odds that I think the halving happens something like once every 5 years or something like that, that it just happens to happen like right now. And that being said, um, Bitcoin just got back up to the same value that it was like right at the crash, right? So you look at the regular markets, everything crashed, then they're like starting to come back up. You look at Bitcoin, it crashed just with the regular markets, huge crash, except Bitcoin's already back up to where it was, right? So what does that say? That says that a lot of people have a lot of faith in Bitcoin right now. A lot of people are seeing that, wow, this is a very important type of money. Of course, it's all speculative, but I mean, the dollar is speculative. No dollar, no world currency has ever lasted for, I think, something like more than 500 years. Every currency in the world has failed. Like, I mean, it's just something that's happened. But there's never been a currency like Bitcoin before. So just another experiment, just another interesting thing to see what's going to happen. That being said, there's also a lot of ways to start passive income with Bitcoin. I mean, even me just right now, educating people about different types of currency, um, all comes down to, a source of passive income. Because while I'm learning, I'm teaching people what I'm learning. So really what I'm seeing is obviously a lot of opportunities right now in so many different areas when it comes to money. Way more, when a lot of people that's really like what I'm trying to show is there's helicopter, straight up something that is called helicopter money. Like economists have referred to this event as an example. Imagine that the government and the banks just put up helicopters in the sky and threw out bundles of cash to people. That's basically what they're saying is going on right now, right? But mainstream media would have everyone to believe that this is the worst time as far as money goes and everything like that. So it's very interesting. So yeah, Um, I could talk more about this like helicopter money. I could talk more about the markets. I think I'd rather do that on another video, another day. So yeah, I mean right now, really since I'm live, I can talk to people about starting an online business, starting sources of passive income, how to really wrap your mind around passive income, and like how to how to take pretty much any kind of activity and break it down into ways to take, one kind of business and turn it into multiple sources of passive income. So basically, if you that's something that you're interested in, something that you would like to figure out how to really start, making money while you're sleeping, stuff like that. Um, everybody's got their own unique skills that they're good at. Everybody's got their strengths. Everybody's got their weaknesses. You got to know yourself better. You got to know your strengths and weaknesses even better over time. That's all part of business. And yeah, actually, I was just reading this book yesterday, and it just brought to mind that out of this one book, like I think the best thing I got out of it was they're saying that they're saying failure is the cost of massive success, right? Like it's failure. You got to be able to take risks, and I mean take calculated risks. Like you don't have to like invest all your savings to start a business. Like my first business that I started, it was an investment of time. It costed me no money. I just put my time in, and after I made the money from it, then I reinvested that money back in the business. Thanks again, Andrew. Uh, glad you getting some value off of the information that I'm providing today. So yeah, if there's any type of way that I could expand on that, anything more you'd like to know, anything more that seems kind of misunderstood about the way that money works, the way the economy works, what's going on right now, feel free. In addition to, of course, like the business stuff that I'm talking about, because basically what you can see is like, think about it. Once people become successful with a business, once people kind of get that formula and that mindset, which I've always said, mindset's like, in my opinion, like 80% at least, like the 80-20 thing, like mindset is like 80%. And then like the effort and the work you put in is more like 20%, like work smart, not hard type thing. Oh, thanks, bro. Sending all the positive energy. So yeah, man, we're gonna keep with the information, keep people get a better understanding so that yeah, more money's gonna flow. True thing. Respect. You already know. So yeah, man, we're gonna get people on the right page. We're gonna get people seeing like not to be afraid of these kind of things. Like this is really when you should be the most optimistic. And yeah, Bitcoin is definitely a great source of passive income. And then really once you understand Bitcoin, you can start to look into other cryptocurrencies because they all really have their own features and their own like kind of unique benefits. Um, so yeah, there's so many ways like society will be benefited by these things, and then basically is just like you got the certain type of currencies, right? And that's one thing. So you've got like Bitcoin, which is like another like you've got the dollar, you've got like the Bitcoin. It's like a type of currency. But then you also have other types of cryptocurrencies that are more like ways that'll benefit society. So say like for one example, you've got a cryptocurrency that is gonna basically like make contracts for businesses. So say like businesses go into, a contract together, like businesses cross to like do some kind of like cross business type thing. Well, right now, looking at a big problem, right, is that you got people who are at the end of the day, I can tell you who's doing business with people. Um, you want to get good at doing business on a handshake because a lot of people, what I've found in business is they think that, oh, well, if I just get lawyered up and have all these contracts, that'll cover me in case something fails in this business thing. Well, I can tell you right now, like, if one side of the business, if you're doing business with somebody and they go back on their contract, like, I mean, think how much it's gonna cost you in lawyer fees to like enforce that contract. Think how much like all this type of money and time is gonna have to be put into it. And most business people find at the end of the day that if they get in a bad business deal with somebody, that person either like makes a mistake or does something on purpose that ruins the business. Uh, it's not even worth their time or their money to like enforce it. And a lot of the times, even when they do spend a lot of time and money to enforce the contract, then the other side can't even pay them back. So like you have a cryptocurrency where, say I as a business went into a business deal with another business, we could set up the whole contract on a cryptocurrency platform. That would mean we would not need to have any lawyers there. We would have a contract so that if the money's here, once whatever we put it in, program it so like XYZ conditions are met, then that money will be deployed in whatever direction it needs to be. Maybe it just stays in escrow. Maybe the conditions are never met. But at the end of the day, you don't need a lawyer. You don't need um, all these other like things. You just have a cryptocurrency platform, which is basically able to distribute the money, correctly. Um, but yeah, that being said, too, I just want to say that you want to become good at business as far as just doing business on a handshake. Like you want to use your intuition because when you go into business, you never know. You just have to get better and better over time. Sometimes you're going to get screwed over. Sometimes you're going to get in bad business deals where people just don't know what they're doing and they kind of mislead you. All that type of stuff. So you just want to get good at going with your intuition, going with your gut, doing business with the right people that you feel like you can do a handshake because. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get back on topic. So looking at some more of these comments. Uh, yeah, man, higher states of learning for real. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm trying to educate people on, because I can really tell, man. Like it's a lot of stuff out here where a lot of people are really on just the mainstream, main level of education, and then once you kind of like break out of that and you start to really understand things on a like higher level, on a like more deeper level, then really like the possibilities become so much greater. So yeah, let's see. There's something about let it be the next stage that builds massive success and wealth for you and your mission. Would you like me to expand? Uh, sure, if you want. I think I know what you're saying, but talking about yeah, intuition. Okay, so yeah, I mean, really, like that's a huge thing. Is like, um, everybody's, the more people that with investing with markets, the more people that follow a same direction, uh, the more likely that the market is going to do something opposite. Like it's like reverse herd mentality. Like a lot of traders and stuff read books about like herd mentality and mob mentality and stuff like that for that reason. Because the best investors, the best traders, the best business people, the best trend spotters are people who like we're saying, that are like, on a higher level of understanding of knowledge, uh, they can spot this kind of thing. So basically, yeah, there's a lot of benefits out here. I'm glad to get some conversation going today. If anybody's watching this that's not live, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and hit the like button. All that type of thing. Know that I'll be coming on more live. I don't really have a schedule with it right now. I'm just gonna do it when I'm inspired. Just to really like give people a platform that they can benefit from. They can get educated on. They can come with with any business ideas they might have and run it past me, and hopefully I can help. And always, you don't have to like I've said before, don't be worried about talking about like a certain business idea, like if someone's going to steal it. I mean, if you want, you could be really vague. You don't even have to talk about really what your exact business idea is. You can just give like a vague like thing, and I'm not really trying to like tell you whether it's a good or bad business idea. I'm just trying to tell you like any opportunities I might see with that, any ways I can enhance what you're already trying to do, any like sources of passive income I can see that you might not see yet. Uh, oh, no worries, Andrew. Oh man, just all the comments are good, man. I'll try to answer as many as I can. It's good. It's just good to have people starting a conversation. So yeah, yes. All right. I think that's really about it for today, though. So yeah, next time I do the live thing, have a question ready. Um, so yeah, that's it for today. About all I got to say. Bringing you value with no delay. Hope you got some value for today. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Coming through with new information steady. So yeah, just go and answer this last comment real quick. Catherine's saying that about the yeah, it's called smart contracts. So if you want to know about the currency, like how cryptocurrency can handle like business contracts, you don't need to get a lawyer. Say you want to do something like that, just look up smart contracts, research some smart contracts, see how that could benefit your business, stuff like that. I believe the majority of the smart contracts right now, or the most advanced technology for smart contracts, are on the Ethereum network. But yeah, awesome. Hope everybody got some value. Ooh. Until next time, I'm out.